see what happened in this game. As I was saying, it looked like white had a slight advantage. Okay, now this is very tricky. What do they call it? The Frankenstein Dracula? Let's see if he plays it. No, he didn't play it. Okay. All right. Now, the idea is that black is trying for the center fork trick, okay? Right? But white has this funny reply, queen h5. And then, oh gosh, it's been a while since I looked at this. So, let's see, black can play knight d6. That's one line. Now, white can get his pawn back with check, but that just leads to an even game. You know,
check.
Hello, we're gonna trade queens, okay?
Check.
And you might as well shake hands and call this a draw. Okay. Well, of course you can play it. But white's whole objective was he was going to sacrifice a pawn. And now it gets tricky. Like, for instance, I'm trying to remember this. For instance, if here white has this crazy move, and they say, go ahead, take my knight because I'm going to win your king.
Checkmate.
Again, I don't remember all this stuff, but I don't get into these positions. The moment I decide I'm going to get into this opening, I'm going to research this. That's the way I roll. If I spend more time, I can figure everything out. Okay, so anyway, let's go forward. So it looks like it's going to turn into a boring four knights game. Nope, not yet. So I've discussed this strategy. This is actually a good move. I've discussed this before. I think I did it in my video on the Italian game. You can find that in my playlist, how to play the openings. But I'll repeat the strategy here if it comes available. Let's see. Let's see what black does. I'll show you anyways. Okay, so this is perfect for white. All right, now, maybe black thinks that, hey, I've made some progress here. I've just doubled his pawns. So, think about this position. What do you want to do with white? And I've seen countless games, of students and other games I've analyzed where nobody understands what to do with white here. What should white play for here? Think about it. It's a good situation because it's a very good situation for white, and you need to know this because you can do the same thing in one of your games. Well, what I see happen, is that, white looks at that and says, I got double pawns. Well, that's true, but white can do a lot with those double pawns. Or because of those double pawns. Now, first off, they're not that weak. Look at the squares that white controls in the center with his center pawns. He controls 5 of them. Black is only controlling 2. And if black puts his pawn on d6, he'll control a third. But the most important thing here is that white has this f-file. Now, what I see constantly, let's see what black does, probably d6. What I see constantly happen is white will play d4. Like, I got to get rid of those double pawns. Well, this is the whole wrong idea. And actually, what that often does is exposes this pawn on e4 to danger. So white should play knight f3. Let's see how much of the strategy he plays before I show it to you. Okay, perfect. Now both sides should castle. Now it's black to play. Now white should play the bishop here. We don't want to take and make this symmetrical. Well, he just lost the strategy. So I'm going to teach it to you, both sides, so you understand it, because you play this opening on either side, you can do it either way. But look how symmetrical this is. I mean, how symmetrical is it? It's exactly symmetrical. But here's what white should have done. White should have played here. And now I ask the question, what's black going to do? And the answer is we don't know. So we're just going to have some fun. We're going to develop some pieces. Now, white's next step is to put this knight here. But you can't go here right now because of this. Right? We take the knight, you drop a knight. So the key move here is queen e1. And let's just put this rook in play. Now we can do this. Now that knight's going into f5 next turn. Now sometimes I see this system, or I see the possibility to use this system, and black will play a move like h6. People, they love to shove their rook pawns up to keep the bishops and knights out of these squares. Well, I'm going to show you why this is such a bad idea. Okay, so I'm just playing it just for the sake of playing it, but now I'm coming in here. Now black looks and says, "Oh, I don't want to lose my queen." Then surprise, surprise,
check.
He dropped a pawn. Okay, that's a possibility. And if black takes, well, that's fine. You know, we have attacking chances on the f file. You know, we're gonna swing our queen out, maybe as far as here. We're gonna double rooks. You know, we've got this f file that was gifted to us when he exchanged here. Now, how weak are those pawns? They're not weak at all. The only weak link is e3, and black is not primed to attack it. You say, sure he is. Okay, fine. I'll come out here and I'll protect it. Now I'm on your knight. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to go back. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here. Now I have a threat. Rook takes. Now let's see. What can I do here? If you don't play king h8, I can even put my queen here next turn. Okay? Because that pawn is pinned. So it's another example of why this is a weak move. So this is an ideal strategy, and what's fun about it is you can do it with either side. Black could have played for the same strategy. Let's go back. I've shown this. Let's go back to when black took here. So black's best move was to come here. Now let's just go forward. And let white take. And white develops his pieces. Now black's a tempo down, but black wants to put his knight here. And again, we don't go this way because of this, right? So black just stops and plays this. And this is coming. And this is coming. So what's kind of neat is you can do this with white or black. And I've yet to see people do this. It happened to me one time. I was on the wrong end of this. And somehow I held on and won the game. It was a miracle. Okay, so let's just move forward. Wait, I went too fast. Okay, so here, the symmetrical position. There comes a time when you play symmetrically that you have to break the symmetry. And, you know, what did we see White doing? He had on his mind d4 all along when the strategy was set. Sink that knight in on f5. Okay. Black is playing too fast. And we're almost, no, if he had taken with the pawn, we would have been symmetrical again. Okay, now we're not symmetrical because the knights are different. But the game certainly seems to be even. Okay, so black now has a pass pawn. It's isolated.
Check.
It looks like he won it, huh? So black won a pawn. So apparently knight d5 was not good, not a good idea. I mean, if this position was agreed to as a draw, I'd say, okay, makes sense. Really, that's probably what it is. We could argue black's knight's a little better than white's because black's knight's attacking and white is defending. Okay, so black needs to win this game. He's up a pawn, and I don't think white has compensation. What should black do here? Well, one good move, since his queen is centralized, is to trade rooks. If white takes back with the rook, black can play rook f8 and say, let's go to a queen and pawn ending where I'm a pawn ahead. If white takes with the queen, then we just back the queen up to e6, then cover key entry squares that like d7 from the rook. Well, we'll see what happens. We went there anyway. Okay. Now he covers his back rank. That, you know, this isn't necessary at this stage. Okay. He's doing it to keep from getting back rank mated, right? Well, let me ask you a question. How is black going to back rank mate white when he has two rooks doubled on the first rank? The answer is he isn't. Okay. So white's a pawn down here. He needs to find a way to somehow generate some activity. Let's go make a threat. Now that leaves his back rank vulnerable, but he is threatening to win a pawn. Okay, suppose black protects. Okay, now we're going to play c4. See, I'm making aggressive moves. The idea of that is to play rook here. I'm coming up with a plan for white. That's all I'm doing. h3 only prevents something that isn't close to happening, and hands black the move. So maybe black will play c6 to keep the rook out. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just analyzing. Now maybe white can go attack this pawn, okay? If he plays a6, there's a weak square that might come in handy. If he plays b6, c6 might be weak. Oh, let's see. I guess he had one other option to steal this, but you know, I mean, I'm just analyzing. That's all. I'm saying there are better choices than playing h3.
Check.
Now he does what my idea was. And now his idea is to shove the pawn. Well, fine. But if you shove it too far, it may become a liability. This king might, well, it's a little tough with the queen and rook on the board, but black might find himself losing that pawn. So why make it passive? See now. He spent just over a minute on that move. He has 12 extra minutes. So, you know, this is, you know, when if you're paying attention in your game, when you're playing in Team 45 League, if you get an advantage of 12 minutes, that's a pretty good advantage. You can take 10 minutes on your move, find the best move, and still be ahead on time. So the move that makes sense to me is to put the rook here. Okay. Why? It's an open file. And white blockades, centralizes his queen. Now suddenly black's putting pressure. I'm sorry, white. I'm so dyslexic. I call black white and white black. White is putting pressure on e5. So these are on the defensive, and they're on the offensive. That's the price that black paid for winning a pawn, I guess. So that's a good move. He says, let's trade queens, and I'll win the rook and pawn ending. Okay, so black has got his queen activated. What do we do now? It's probably not a good idea to take this, because white will take this. And if you trade rooks, white is actually threatening a mate in one. So it's kind of hard to improve your position here for black, since you're tied down to defending that pawn. But he offers another queen trade. Good move. Now you're hitting this guy too.
Check.
And maybe he just dropped a pawn. But, you know, watch out. The dam might be bursting here. Run for your lives, folks. The dam is burst. Okay, let's see. Should black play e4? White has the option to grab another pawn, but that pawn's getting awful dangerous. Let's see what black did.
Check.
He checked. Let's hold that check for a moment. Let's do this. Okay, now we can't push the pawn any further. We have a little problem here. I don't know. Maybe we're not going to go anywhere with this pawn, but you certainly have to look. You know, where are you going to put the rook where it's safe? And I think it ended up there later. See, now white starts getting. I don't know. Does he?
Check.
You know, this pawn has got a life of its own here. Black has sacrificed a pawn to do this. White may be holding a draw if he can trade off all the queenside pawns. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Check.
He wants to grab a pawn. Okay. Well, now the back rank trick is there, so White can get rid of this dangerous pawn. He does it this way. Okay, well, that's going to win the pawn. Was there anything wrong with this? That just takes it now. Threatening mate. Can't take the rook because of the back rank mate. Maybe they're no different. I'm trying to defend the rook and create some threats with the queen, but I don't see how to do that. So anyway, he didn't play that. He went here. He's going to get the pawn anyway. And now it's black's queen that's centralized. Now here, rook h5 threatens a mate in 1, but he went to the 7th rank. And I was talking before the break. I said, if that rook could go over there, it's checkmate. How does black defend this? No, it's not mate. The queen can come back, but we're going to lose the queen, so that's the next best thing. How does black defend this? I guess he goes there, huh? And with this queen on this diagonal, the king is reasonably safe. So, you know, it bears investigation. So I think they repeated the position a little bit.
Check. Check.
And they agreed to a draw here. But is it really a draw? As I was saying just before the break, I say white's queen and rook are better than black's queen and rook. And the c pawn on c6 is isolated. So let's take queen e5 back and find a better move. Now, black would love to get a perpetual check if he could. Let's see. But if we can win this pawn or this pawn, you know, it's over. Now, like Magnus could take white in this position and win one of those pawns, and then use technique and win it. Well, what can we mere mortals do here? Let's see. What's the winning? Well, and to win it, we have to come up with threats. if we advance our pawns to create threats, this own king can be subject to a lot of checks, but maybe that's an idea. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to say we're going to keep these weak. I'm not going to worry about winning it. I'm going to try to create threats against the king. Now that does expose the king.
Check.
But let's take a look. Oh, wait, we can't check there. God, I'm horrible on these one movers today, huh? So let's centralize the queen and attack a pawn. And we're going to give it up with check.
Check.
Now, this could be too risky. I've given up 2 pawns, but I'm trying to shield the king from checks. And then hopefully I have enough going here with what's left to deliver a checkmate against black. So always check. It might be mate. Let's check again.
Check.
Now black is out of checks. It's going to take a while to run these pawns, so let's run one. See what happens. Uh-oh, something bad is happening here. If we take back, we get mated. So we have to go pin the queen.
Check.
White probably wins this. I'm sorry, black probably wins this. Okay. Like I say, just an idea. White is down 6 minutes on the clock. I guess it's not that bad for white. He's got the better position, but what other strategies could we use? There's one saying, who is it, Nivzovich or Ayakin said the threat is stronger than the execution. Let's go threaten to do something. Let's just plant this rook over here. Why am I doing that? Because I want to tie this queen down. Actually, let's go back even a move before. Here's where white checked. Let's leave the queen here because it's not only keeping an eye on this, it's keeping an eye here. Let's go play this move. Okay? And the idea is I want to tie this queen down to protecting that. It's not much, but notice how black is a little tied up here. He can't move his rook. He's mated. Right? His queen has limited mobility because, if it comes down here, you're just going to drop this pawn. Now that frees the rook, but I don't think that's enough. So, this has to be in white's favor. Is it enough to win? That's a tough question. Black only has one weakness. Well, I guess you could argue black does have 2 weaknesses. Both of his pawns are isolated. So strategically, white should be winning this. It's just a matter of finding the right plan, and I'm getting to it. And when I'm playing a game, I don't always see everything right away, but I take my time until I do see it the right way. Like I say, I'm a Tandy Radio Shack 80, TRS 80. Those are the computers back in the 70s. And, I'm playing against you HP 16 gig DDR, that can process stuff like crazy. That's why I can't play Blitz chess. But I know if I take my time in analysis, I will find good moves. And, and you guys are all playing good moves. How many times these people are playing the move I suggest? And I've said it before, you're capable of playing Grandmaster moves. And the proof is all of the tactical puzzles that you solved that were won in actual play by Grandmasters. Okay? The difference is it's white to play and win. They only had a feeling it was white to play and win and had to find it. Okay, so how does black continue here? In a way, it's kind of like Zugzwang. He's tied up. He has moves like this, and he has moves like this. Okay? That's all he has. So, let's try this. Well, now if you play this move, you drop this pawn. Okay, so he's stuck moving this. The only other alternative is is, well, this is gonna be slow torture. Okay, takes. Now it's up to black to prove he can draw this. It's not an easy task. This is winning for white. Black has to fight. So we're going to play rook here. And after this, now how does white make progress? So maybe I'm working my way into the solution. Maybe my idea of running up these pawns was the right idea. When I did it before, these pawns were vulnerable. Remember, I had the queen here. Okay, so let's try to advance some pawns and make some threats. And if black can start checking.
Check.
Right?
Check.
Now, how long can he check? Now, is this one of those crazy positions he can do this and get a mate? Well, he can't move it. It's pinned. So right now the king is safe. He has a check down here.
Check.
Okay, now this would be made if it weren't pinned. No, it wouldn't be. The king could take here. This would be made if the queen didn't protect. But here I can't say white's going to find a win, but he's a lot closer than he was with the king way back here, wherever it was. What else can black do here? Offering a queen trade is just fatal. We can take this pawn. We can take this pawn. I would probably take this pawn. Just keep your rook tied down to the back rank. Now I'm ready to take this or this. And now I'll go after this guy. This is dead winning for white. So, black is, he's relegated to, let's see, yeah, I want to note that he still can't do this. He's tied down to guarding this mate.
Checkmate.
So let's see. Here come my pawns. You're gonna wiggle waggle your king. Look at that. I'm threatening to take a pawn. Now what do? We take the pawn. He can't take back. Now was all this? Oh wait, there was something humorous here. I just noticed.
Check.
We have that check. Now, it'd been funny if that was mate, but it wasn't. We have another check here.
Check.
But this, if we go into rook and pawn ending, this is extremely favorable for white. Let's see.
Check.
Let's get rid of some pawns while we can. Let's come over here. Watch this. I'm gonna take this. Now, I don't know. How does white proceed from here? Certainly looks like white's going to have all the fun here. Now, this wasn't forced; it's just some ideas. But the point is, if you sit and play with the position long enough, you can come up with some really cool stuff. See, from 1986 to 2000, I was playing correspondence chess by postcard. You hardly find that anymore because of the internet. I was playing it against top flight masters. Okay. I defeated a correspondence grandmaster. I defeated a correspondence international masters. Had draws against those folks. You can sit and analyze and work on it. So I've got the experience during the groundwork. Now I'm sure both sides in all these lines could have found improvements, but slowly but surely I started finding a plan for white. So I've taken. what I learned in correspondence chess was when I sit and play over the board, I can sit there and start finding stuff.
Check.
Now we get out, but you know, I don't know. This is tough. You know, Black is fighting for the draw here. He may have it, but he's fighting for it. Could White have done better? Probably. I can't see every line, but I know, like I say, we start with a basis of knowledge, and that knowledge says that Black has weak queenside pawns, and we have a better queen and a better rook. If anyone's going to win this game, it's going to be White. And forget the guy's 1609 and you're 1530. You know, he's the one with the weak position. You have the stronger position. So Rook C7 should have been played and make Black prove the draw. And that's what you want to do to your opponents. Okay, let me stop this recording and I'll